Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly radio show called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker and trainer and a coach, and I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topic of public speaking for your non-listening audience, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. If you are part of an association that has a national conference and you're on the team to find a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. Many of you know I've got a number of books on the market: Encouragement for Your Life series, Speak Without Fear, Perfecting Your Platform, and some are also on Kindle and Audible. But if you'd like to learn more about me, reach out on Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, and all my books will appear. So today's message is a good one. It's one we all need to hear, including myself. And my theme for today is this, my friends: life moves on, and so should you. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next half hour. Let's get started with today's show. Dear listener, I've got to level with you. Today is a tough message because I think we all go through it. So I just wanted to share a few words of comfort. I want to kind of put you back in the right mindset so you can live the life that you've imagined. So my theme is life moves on. You know, it's hard to understand why things don't work out like we would like for them to, and preferably in our favor. But as you well know, life doesn't always give us what we think we need or want. And until we settle on that fact that our plans will change with or without our acceptance, until we come to terms with the fact of life, our friend will always be chasing something that's hard to catch. Because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. We really ought to make it our joy to live today. Unfortunately, that's not what people tend to believe. I know we are so caught up in ourselves and what we want and when we want it and how it is to be delivered. Listen, I know it's true because I struggle with this myself in wanting what I want within my preset time frame. But then, with no warning, life moves on, and my world changes, along with the movement of the world. Sometimes in my favor, and sometimes not. Always moving, at least while I'm alive on this earth. I have to say I see this unfolding because this is the time of year that many of my friends' kids have found out that they were or were not accepted into the college of their choice. Now, for some kids, it's not a big deal because their second and third or fourth choice is fine. But for others, this appears to be devastating, that they didn't get in or they didn't achieve the college they had set their heart on. And this seeming momentous disruption in life, well, it causes them great distress and for some, believe it or not, a sense of hopelessness. From my point of view, I find it concerning when I hear that these great kids with really soon-to-be bright futures at whatever college they end up going to begin to question their value and self-worth based only on an admission to a certain school. I have to say, I wish I could shout from the mountaintop that it will be okay, and in time it'll settle out for the best, believe it or not. So don't get so whacked out that you act out and drag others through your misery, hurt, and anger. Okay, so I know it's easy for me to say that sitting here years later from my college days, but the fact is, for the life of me, I cannot tell you what schools my friends graduated from, if they graduated at all. You know, life moved on, and so did we. Now, isn't that interesting? When you look back and realize that no matter what you and I felt at certain times in our lives, the simple fact is that life moved on, and most of us moved along with it. Maybe against our wishes sometimes, but somehow we grasp the fact of life that it moves. And we made a decision to move with it instead of being left behind. Now, unfortunately, you and I know some folks who were left behind because they just didn't move on with life. They choose to sit out of the race and they let the focus of not getting what they wanted and their opportunity. Now, think back to your high school reunion, even if you went to one or not, and remember all the people who let life pass them by? And you'll be glad you found your way to the highway of life and rolled on out of your old hometown along to the life you have today. I want to spend just a few minutes today to focus on the simple fact, friend, no matter what you're going through right now, if you think life is ending or altering, if you let it, remember that life moves on. And I'd like for you to consider that since it moves on, maybe you should too. Listen, I'm not asking you to let go of your dreams, but let's have a real conversation of what will happen if your dreams come up short or if they don't come up at all. So what concerns me is that friends many times don't seem to have a backup plan when their dreams don't come true or never get off the ground, or worse yet, they're stymied by others who are jealous of their success. Come on, you know it happens more than you care to admit. If you spend your whole life waiting for some magic opportunity to find you, or if you're still holding out for a knight in shining armor to rescue you, or if you think that working harder and not smarter will land you in the position of your dreams, friends, let's make a plan. Let's do that just in case all those hopes and dreams don't come true. Please hear me. I hope they do. I really do. I hope you are wildly successful in your endeavors. But I've been around long enough to know that sometimes even the brightest are not chosen, and the best laid plans are set aside, or someone steals your chance. Hard to admit, though, especially through our anger and tears, that life will move on. But it does. And no matter how you feel today or tomorrow or the next year, your choices are to move with it, to sit it out, and let life pass you by. So I have a show that I've done in the past called If Plan A Fails. Remember, you still have 25 letters left. I love that thought. And friend, believe it or not, it's true. Even if you feel like you are all alone, or if you feel like you've lost it all, you still have options, whether you can see them today or not. Because life moves on, and you have a choice to move with it to new places, or stay where you are and miss the new opportunity that happened when everything fell apart. I love the quote that says, when you think things are falling apart, they may be actually falling into place. The poet Rumi has a quote I've always loved, and it's this: the wound is the place where the light enters you. Friends, where there's light, there is healing. Where there's movement, there's life. So don't be afraid to move. Be more afraid when your life comes to a standstill. Have to admit, I've always appreciated the quote from J.K. Rowling, that rock bottom became the solid foundation on which she rebuilt her life. Some of you listening today are torn between the options of moving along to new opportunities, new places, new people, or standing right where you are, staring at the old, well-worn life you know and live daily. Some of you are staring at rock bottom, and for those of you who are and don't like that feeling of hopelessness, let me encourage you to move on and look up. Look up to the ever-changing patterns of light in your life. Look up to a world around you that changes every hour on the hour and has for millennia. And then make a choice to stand on the rock bottom of hurt and pain and failure in your life, and let that be the solid foundation on which you rebuild your life, your way, moving in the direction of your dreams. There's a quote, and I don't know the author, that says, sometimes it looks like everything is falling apart and all you do fails, but you have to stay strong. Night is always darkest before the dawn, and your life is just the same. The hard times will pass, everything will get better, and the sun will shine brighter than ever. Yes, friends, life moves on. And if you plan to thrive, you must climb aboard and allow the movement of life to carry you to new and better places. You may not know everything that's coming your way, but let's trust that all things will work together for good, as hard as it is to believe sometimes. And trust that the movement that has begun in you or was thrust upon you by others is for the purpose to mold you into the person you were born to be. And trust me when I tell you that it is so much better to grow into your future than stand still in the wreckage of your broken life. Our friend, my good news for today is this: life moves on, and so should you. I'm Deb Sofield. This is Encouragement for Your Life. Stay tuned. Let me do a quick break. I'm going to come back with ways for you to move on in your amazing life. Hi, I'm Deb Sofield. If you've ever needed help crafting a presentation for your job or your company, I can help. In today's world, you know how important it is to be able to speak and present well. I'm a national speaker and an executive speech and corporate presentations coach. I can help you craft your message for your success. I'd like to be on your team. I'd like to be your coach. Contact me through my website, debsofield.com. Welcome back, everybody. As I continue on, I want to do a quick caveat. I want to talk about, just for a few minutes, in case you're wondering, Deb, should I move on? I'm not asking you to move on. I'm just asking you to be aware of the signs that sometimes you should, and these might be what we'll call the bellwether signs that you go, ooh, that's happening in my life. I came across an article by Althea Luna, and she talks about signs that it's time to move on. So here's a few things. Just think about if this is happening to you. Maybe you do, maybe you don't move on, but please be aware that if somebody is hurting you, whether you think about it or not, I want you to have what I'm going to call basic rules for life so you'll know what to look for. So imagine this. If someone doesn't show interest in your thoughts, opinions, or needs, friend, if your relationship is very lopsided, even when you try to express your thoughts and needs, you're met with a blank, uninterested wall. Life tends to revolve around the other person. And whenever you try to draw a conversation towards yourself, that person will immediately try to monopolize the attention. Listen, in the past, you may have drawn attention to the fact that this person doesn't show interest in your needs. But listen, they haven't changed, and they make no effort to pay attention to you. This person has a me first, you second attitude. You might want to think about it. Or if you have a friend who is constantly negative, no matter what you say or do, this person is always unhappy. They nitpick, whine, criticize, judge, moan about you or other people all the time. Not only that, but you always seem to go away feeling miserable after spending time with this person. They're kind of like a damp, heavy blanket suffocating your soul. Another red flag I see a lot is when someone doesn't encourage your freedom. If the other person is controlling and authoritative, my friends, back away slowly. If you feel trapped and unable to be your true self, that is most definitely time to move on. Feeling trapped can also be subtle and passive. For example, someone who tries to keep you dependent on them so they have power over you. Or how about the person that constantly will twist the truth? You struggle to trust this person because let's just say it, they've lied to you so much in the past. Lying is not always active. It can also be passive, for example. Listen, somebody who withholds information or details that you really need to know, or this person has repeatedly broken your trust and is not transparent with you, you might need to move on. I tell you, this is the one I see, and as I'm a little bit older and my friends are dating again after divorce or maybe a loss, if the person you have met doesn't prioritize your relationship, this other person doesn't seem to value you or your relationship or friendship as much as you do. While you put a lot of work into improving your relationship with them, they don't seem to really care much. Even when you ask them to maybe uphold their side of the relationship, they still end up prioritizing other things over you. Like they forget dates or when you're going to meet or agreements that you two have kind of talked about, or they put work and commitments above you. Listen, I know it's important to be working and to get your job done, and busyness is a normal part of life, but if this person doesn't have the time on their schedule for you at all, you might want to rethink that. So the next one is one that I do see, but I tend to see it more among women. You have a friend who constantly creates drama, and then you feel exhausted having to deal with all the problems and drama surrounding this person. Even when something goes well for you or your family member, they got something else to be unhappy about. And you have a sense this person thrives on drama, and it's empty without it. Listen, by now, you're probably tired of hearing detailed accounts of their fights, work drama, relationship tragedy, and righteous opinions. Oh yes, take Deb's advice and move down the road. Or how about this? Somebody who feeds off your energy. This person seems to be fueled by your attention and emotional reactions. They might enjoy provoking you to elicit a response that makes them feel like they have power over you. You also feel very tired around them, almost jerked into their gravitational pull. If you feel this way, you have what we call an energy vampire on your hands. And while I don't really like the term, I do believe it describes people who enjoy leeching off our energy. Or how about this? You have a friend who is relentlessly needy. And you, oh, good-hearted you are smothered by this other person. And it's kind of like you're bound to them with a ball and chain. Not only do you have to take care of your needs, but now you feel as though you might have to take care of their needs as well. This is a person who seems to constantly demand attention, pampering, affection, and favors from you. You've tried to encourage this person to stand on their own 2 feet, but they are intent on clinging to you. This person seems to be incapable of being self-assured and constantly seeks approval from you and others. Now, the next one is one I'm going to just tread lightly on, but you know Deb's rule: if you are ever hurt, walk away, especially if it's physical. If someone has physically hurt you in a moment of rage, your friend, your partner, or family member, if they've hurt you in some way, they may have apologized. Your trust and confidence around them should have been broken by now. I mean, here's the fact. Physical abuse is a crystal clear sign that, friend, it is time to move on and burn that bridge forever. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you as a friend who sees this happen, I am shocked and amazed how many people will go back into a physical, harmful relationship. Makes no sense to me. If you were my friend, I would yank you out of that relationship in a heartbeat. Okay, if you're around someone who makes you want to hide your true self, you've tried being relaxed and open around this person, but you've been met, and here it is, coldness, criticism, or judgment. As a result, you may have been hiding your true self, wearing a mask instead. Listen, over time, you're going to forget who you are, and you will become a shell of your former self instead. You've seen this so many times with other friends of yours. Make sure it is not happening to you. Then I got to tell you, probably the most important one, friend, if someone is manipulating you, if you feel, listen, emotionally blackmailed or gaslighted by somebody in your life, sometimes they convince you that you're the problem, when in fact they're just playing mind games with you. All right, so here's the key. I've given you a lot of things to look at. You don't have to agree to all of them, but if you're experiencing one or two of these signs, as your friend, I'm going to tell you to seriously consider that it might be time to move on. While you don't have to necessarily burn the bridge, I believe you need to create space and distance so you can heal and get back to you. I mean, here's the fact. These signs, I hope, will gently awaken in you the possibility that it is time for a new chapter in your amazing life. And listen, sometimes things like stress and shame and grief, those are normal reactions, especially when you've been hurt by somebody you thought you loved or liked or wanted to be with forever. But friend, you are worth it. You are so worth it. So I am not going to let you just go back into a darkness while you're trying to please someone else, instead of being who you are and who you were made to be. All right, tough love message, I get it. So, because I've told you what to look for, now I want to talk about you so you can heal and move on. I'm a big fan of a lady named Lori Descheny. And although I don't have the whole article here, there were a few points in the article that I really thought were worth our time. And so, friend, please hear this in love. So I want you to know that if you've been hurt, please don't let the pain become your identity. If everything you do and all your relationships center around something that hurt you, it'll be harder to move on. I mean, here's a weird thing. You may even come to appreciate what that identity gives you. Attention, the illusion of understanding, or the warmth of compassion. I'm going to ask that you consider the possibility there is a greater sense of happiness when you completely release your story. You will feel better than you can ever imagine if you will stop letting your pain define you. Listen, you can have a sad story in your past, without building your present around it. Her next point is a good one. Some of you need to reconnect with who you were before the pain. Listen, it's not easy to release a pain identity, particularly if you've carried it around for a long time. So, friend, it may help to remember who you were before that experience, or to consider who you might have become if it hadn't happened. You can still be that person. Did you hear me? You can still be that person. Someone who doesn't feel bitter or angry so frequently. If you want to feel peaceful, happy, alive, start by identifying what that looks like and what you think about, what you do, and how you interact with people. Odds are this process will remind you both how you want to be and how you don't want to be. The next one is, friend, you need to focus on things that bring you joy in the moment. Now listen, you don't have to focus on completely letting go of your pain forever, but you need to make room for joy right now. Start simple. Think about something you can enjoy in this moment, regardless of what your pain has been in the past. Do you like just sitting in the sun? I do. I love going to the beach. I love just reading a magazine, watching the crabs, counting the waves. Yeah, brings me joy in the moment. Sometimes I call a friend. Some of you have friends who would love to hear from you. Not the broken, sad, whiny you, but this new person who is seeing joy in the moment. So here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to think about the totality of the rest of your days. That's a huge burden to carry. Focus on now and allow yourself a little peace. And then probably her next point is one I find really the most powerful. Share that joy with other people. Listen, we often isolate ourselves when we're hurting because it feels safer than showing other people that maybe we're hurt and sad and broken, that vulnerability that Brene Brown speaks about so much. What we need to remember is that we don't have to feel vulnerable all the time. We can choose certain people for support and then allow ourselves time with others without involving our painful past stories. A friend, share a meal, go to a movie, a moment. Give yourself a break from your anger and hurt and sadness. You don't have to carry it through every moment of your day. Don't worry. If you feel like you need to remember it, you'll still be able to recall it later. But as you allow yourself pockets of peace, share with the people you love, you may find that you need that sad story a whole lot less. Now, let me just end with this. Friends, you have the right to feel whatever you feel, and you don't have to rush through your sadness or anger. We all need time to process our feelings. But there comes a time when we need to consciously choose to heal, let go, move on. It's a process, and it won't be easy. But dear listener, you deserve it. I really believe everyone deserves to feel happy. Everyone deserves a little peace. Everyone deserves to live the life they were born to live. As I close out today's show, I came across an article by Mark and Angel Chernoff, and it's Harsh Truth That Will Jolt You Awake. Now, I don't have time to go through all of them, but I do want to read a few because I think they're really good to think about. So here's the first one. No one else can give you the exact answers you need to be happy and successful. How about this one? The unhappiest folks are those who care the most about what everybody thinks. The people you surround yourself with will make you or break you. Now, friends, you know that. Pick the right friends. You will always be incredibly imperfect. I have to say, I find joy in that one. It makes me feel good about myself. The draw of comfort is the biggest dream killer. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us. The only path between wanting and having is doing. Boy, that's a tough one for today, but it's so true. Friends, your dreams come true when you make them come true. How about this one? Winners win not because they're allowed to, but because they decide to. I gotta say, I love this next one. If achievement had no price, it would be of no value. How about this? Focusing on petty problems is the greatest human addiction. Wow, that just might be truth in action there. Failures are inevitable and necessary. And how about this? Oh, friend, you're exactly where you're supposed to be at this very moment. You can't change yesterday, but you can ruin today by worrying about tomorrow. When you spend your time worrying and overthinking everything, you're simply using your imagination to create things that you don't want. And friends, you can't have a positive life with a negative attitude. All right, I know, a little tough love message today, but I gotta say, as I'm watching these kids don't get in the colleges they want and everybody getting so emotional about it, I just want to say, slow down. Life is good. You will find your path forward. And remember, I love the quote, winners don't win because they're allowed to, but because they decide to. So let's decide today. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for listening. I hope you'll join me next week, same time, same place, for Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life. Have a good one, everybody.